literally going on holiday tomorrow. I've got a board here. Can I fix this board in less than 24 hours? So it's a really tidy looking board. However, if we have a little zoom in here, we'll see some slightly suspect little traces, and we can see fairly early signs of a battery leak. I am hoping it's not gone on that side. I am hoping this is going to be a dead simple repair. I'm not very good at impact freeze. I don't like impact freeze, but I'm going to give it a go. Literally all I've done is taken that battery off, so I've heated the iron up and just removed them from there, so they're now off. Let's try and show you. So let's zoom in a little bit. Like I said, these are not my favourite pastime. However, what I will say to you is some of these are probably not so good. And it can be painstaking, and it can be a pain in the ass to get them back together. So what basically I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fiberglass pencil. Can you see it? Yeah, you can see it now. I'm going to take a fiberglass pencil and I'm literally going to take off what's here. I'm probably going to clean the area up with a bit of IPA afterwards and a cotton bud, and then I'm going to have a look and see which tracks are damaged. What I will do is use my multimeter, which is, I'm a bit zoomed in there, which is there in continuity, and all I'm going to do is check all of these traces to where they go. So some of them come up here into this chip, and then they come down here around here. What tends to happen with impact freeze is that corrosion tends to travel underneath the socket, and then you have to take both those sockets off, and they get a lot of green around here, and then this down at the bottom here, which is surface mounted ICs, because it's a bit weird because some of it's through all, some of it's surface mounted. That's your RAM, and then what happens is the acid gets all the way down here and it just destroys everything. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and very carefully just scrape away this area and hope that a lot of it is still intact. And if a lot of it's still intact, then that's great. And if it's not, I can lay some flux down, I can re-tin and then potentially join, or some of them I'll maybe be able to get away with on the back. The problem that you get here though again is that because they go up there, if I flip the board over, you know where to attach it to, and this is what makes them difficult. And yeah, I'm not the world's best at this, and I certainly don't pretend to be the world's best at this. There are people far better than me, and I generally don't touch stuff like this that's surface mounted, really thin tracks, but I shall do my best because it does look incredibly localized. So that, for example, there, that trace goes across here and it goes to here. Now hopefully that still buzzes and it works, and I don't have to touch that area. And you can see up there, this is my key area here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 potential traces that could be gone. And then if I look over here, there could be some little bit of potential. I may just clean this with a bit of IPA first actually. That, for example, there, that goes through BT1 there, that one there, that goes all the time. Anyway, I shall clean this area off and hope and pray it isn't as bad as all that. Okay, let's see what we can see then. I haven't necessarily taken all of the mask off them, but I mean they look pretty clean, don't they? Look pretty clean so far. There'll be a lot more cleaning going on here yet, but I can't see obvious breaks yet. I'm not saying there isn't any, because I've not cleaned back all these. I'm not trying to take stacks of mask off where it's not needed, because what I don't want to do is start ripping out loads of bits and pieces. If you want to see the process, how it looks, I'll show you. So take these 2 traces here, fiberglass pencil, doesn't do any harm, and then you just literally do that, and then eventually it just becomes clear, and that's all you're doing, mate. Just scratching away really finely to take. My fingers are in the way a bit. To take it off, and then yeah, that's the general gist of it. Is to just basically scrape away the lamp mast to see where your brakes are. And like I said, at the moment, that one looks a bit ropey there, but it buzzes. And so I'm just using a multimeter in continuity. I'll take off this. I'll probably take that capacitor off altogether, and then it's just basically painstakingly buzzing every single one of them traces to where they go to and following them. So for example, those 4 there in the middle will go all the way up there, all the way up there, and then they go into here, somewhere around there. And you can just literally go, you can buzz from the bare piece of trace where you know you're okay, all the way up into it, and then you should know whether it works or doesn't. And it is a painstaking job, but that's basically what I'm doing. The plot thickens, so I can't see anything obviously broken, which is partly a worry now. So I've taken one of them that boots. Shout out to Alistair Wiper, because that's his old 5-liner game card that he donated me very kindly. I donated him a mug back. So, I mean, I've not taken all that off and looked at all that as yet. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to change my plan of attack a little bit. And I know the owner says it didn't boot at all, so I've not even bothered trying to boot it on the table. What I'm going to do, though, now is I'm going to boot it. Or I'm going to try and boot it, see what happens. Okay, so not sponsored by Pepsi Max. What I've actually done is get myself a bag of crisps and a drink. Absolutely useless, no information there at all. However, out of there, just using a flat knife, I've just literally lifted my ROMs out, and I've just stuck them onto that card, and I'm just going to flick the switch on here once I've plugged it in, because it ain't plugged in, and I'm going to find out what it's going to do, if anything. Plugged in, ready to go. All I really want to see is that thing flash. That's all I'm looking for, really, is that flashing. May or may not. There you go. Okay, so that's booting. Now, could just be a bit of crud. I did press the sockets in before I did anything as well. So it could have just been a bit of crud. It's just causing a bit of resistance, stopping it booting. Because I can't find a damaged trace, or the owner, because the owner didn't send me the game card with them. It could be that there's an issue there somewhere. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this in a machine, see what happens inside the machine, and then potentially maybe just burn the owner some new ROMs for Roller Coaster. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I've spoken to the gent who owns this, who lives up in the northeast. What he said to me is, he says sometimes it sort of spluttered and tried to come on, and sometimes it did come on and it stayed on for a couple of minutes. I mean, I've booted this off and on. I've just booted it again now. Hopefully it should just ping on in a sec. There you go. I've turned it on and off a few times, so I'm pretty confident that that's gonna boot every single time at the moment. My next protocol really is to go and throw it in a machine outside with that game card in it with different ROMs, because I'm casino crazy or something. See if that's going to work in a machine. I think that's really my next protocol. I have seen that there's a bit of black around this cap up here. I don't know if that's potentially gone or not, but I'll just change it just to be on the safe side. But yeah, I mean, the board looks perfect. So I didn't detect one trace that had gone through. So yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful. So I'm going to use the immortal words like, it appears it might have been getting hot. It's not focusing very well. See something that looks a bit shitty like that, just get it off, put a new one on. Bit of a lie, I'd forgotten. So I've only just finished Trivial Pursuit. Not been back in here, been in work every day, so I'd totally forgotten that I had shit absolutely everywhere still in here. So that is down there. That's going to go in here, I'm getting just about enough room to get through to it. I'm going to show you the inside of a JPM Impact. So that one's running, this is running Impact 1, so you can't even see. So you've got a main board, you've got a sound card, game card, processor card, whereas that one has just got like a game card and then a main board, which is the sound and everything, the processor's all on board on that. So what I'm going to do, I'll just boot this up. I think it's that plug. Yeah, it is. There you go, my lights are coming inside it. So, it might take it a second. It has got a battery on the board, on the processor, so it shouldn't set an alarm off. It says, there you go. Little real shake that you get off an Impact. There we go. So we got turned on JPM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip out the guts, turn it off first obviously, rip out the guts, and throw that in there with the ROMs for this, and let's see what happens. Very quickly what Impact 1 main board looks like. It's actually Impact 1 or 2. That's dictated by the processor card. That, I don't know if this guy watches my channel, but the person that did that card, because Magic recognised it straight away, it's a bit of a work of art, but I just did use it for testing. I don't know how I acquired it and when I acquired it, but I did acquire it. And it actually, it's a bit of a, like I said, it is a bit of a nightmare, but it does, believe it or not, run. So fair play. And yeah, that's where we're kind of at with this one. So now I've got the guts out of it. It's just a case of putting the other one together and putting the ROMs on that card, and then go from there. While watching live with me. So I've put the ROMs on, I've put the cards in, hopefully everything's in the right order. See what happens. Obviously we want to see some sort of flashing light out of it. Something's doing something. I don't know how good the game card is, by the way. I've got lights. This looks mighty promising so far. And we have got a bit of light. That'll just be a connection on the plug, by the way. So we have got something coming out of it, which is some sort of positivity. It runs. Let's see if I can make that. No, might not be that then. Let's just give it a wiggle, is what I see. No, it's actually, oh no, yeah, it was just a connection. Right, so we're running. Didn't hear any sound. It could be the game card, this, by the way. I don't know the I know it's not it boots. I don't know if the game card's any good. I suspect. Just unplugged the speaker. We definitely have some sort of sound fault, and it also just says back to standard version, and nothing's happening on there, which is not ideal. So it's not going into test. It could be the game card. What I'll probably do is just swap the game card over with a different one, see if we can get a different result, as I don't think it's the main board. Quick change of card later. I don't know. One. Okay, so what we will do is we will just run a little soak test on it. So what a soak test does runs, and all it does, I'll show you on the screen, is it tells you if there's any faults. And we haven't got any. This might turn out to be one of my more straightforward fixes. Right, so, good. I think we're good. Right, so what I'm going to do, just going to throw the reels back in and then... Oh, dropped it. Just heavy-handed, aren't I? There we go. We haven't even got a diode out, I don't think. We're all good. You should think it's doors shut, yeah, there you go. The bottom door doesn't actually fit on this. I've got another bottom door for it, but this one's in better nick. I just need to shave it, sand it down. Why bother for a test rig, I don't know anyway, but that's on. So I mean, really all I've got to do is maybe find a couple of quid, test it a couple of quid, leave it on an hour and just check there's nothing untoward, but I think we're probably good. Just quickly got some money. As you can see, all up and running. Need to get some more bulbs for these. I've got a couple of them gone, and I think I've donated most of them to Retro Slots Blackpool for their machines. I think I've got any 10 mils now. Ash. Right, I mean, so really all that's left to do now for this is for me to leave it on and running for a bit, just check there's nothing untoward, and then fly wire a battery on, cover up the traces that I've exposed, probably re-tin them before I cover them, and then that's pretty much that. I mean, that's running. So maybe the easiest impact-free fix ever. So I've done a couple more things. So we've first and foremost put a brand spanking new battery on there and fly wired it. So that bit's done. I've not covered that over yet. I did notice when I was doing it, there was 5 or 6 bulbs out. So I've taken that lamp transistor out and swapped it. I mean, lamp transistors are pretty straightforward. Basically get a multimeter on them in continuity and just find out which one's reading wrong. A lot of the time with these, if you meter the resistor here, it should buzz from one side to the other, and a lot of the time that'll have gone as well, so you just swap them both. But in this case, the resistor's reading fine. It's just the transistor that's gone a bit duff. So I'll swap that, and then we'll have full working lamps, and then yeah, away you go. Kind of just job done now.